Actually, the director of marketing had the Audi, we had a Golf GTI, we swapped, and away we went. After all, he had a full day of meetings to attend, and an S4 sitting in a car park seemed to us like a total waste. This S4 Quattro was kitted out in the sport configuration, which means that it has a harder suspension than you'd normally find on the car. It's been fitted with imported springs and gas dampers, which lessen the ride height by about 25 millimeters, and which gives it a more aggressive stance and sharper responses. The S4 is quite simply a stunner. It has a beautiful whine under the bonnet when the turbo comes in, and there's no turbo lag. But try as we might, we couldn't get it to make the same noise as Terry Moss's race car when we changed down through the gears. And that's despite the fact that the chaps at Audi Motorsport, who prepare his car, also had a hand in modifying this one. It's a modification, incidentally, which if you wanted it would set you back something in the region of 39,000 rand.
Well, if we were in Germany, I would call this car an Autobahn eater. It's quite an amazingly potent machine and a very, very torquey engine. The torque comes in between about 18 or 1900 RPM and about 4,500 RPM. And it's about 327 Newton meters of torque right across that power band. It's got a 6-speed gearbox, that is 6 forward gears. And as I say, you can put the foot down in 5th gear or even 6th gear and you can feel the power coming in. It's quite a hard ride on this particular car because I'm told they've had a special sports suspension kit put in, and the road noise is also a little bit on the heavy side. You can feel virtually every bump. If you drove over a Tikkie, you'd be able to feel it here. Road noise a little bit on the loud side, but I suspect that's because of the big low-profile Conti Sport Contact tyres that are underneath it.
Under the bonnet is the 5-cylinder 20-valve turbo-powered monster with a larger triple K turbo, which does some indecent things to the performance. How about 0 to 100 in 6.5 seconds, for example? Power output is 205 kilowatts at 5,900 RPM, and there's 400 Newton meters of torque available at a low 2,500 revs. This is a permanent 4-wheel drive machine, but you can forget about trying any off-road stuff in this one. Obviously, it's built for the snow and ice of Europe, and very definitely for the autobahns of Germany. This one will clock a top speed of just over 250 kilometers an hour. That's enough to put you in the slammer for the weekend if you get caught. Yet despite its awesome power, the S4, even with the sports kit fitted, is still a very desirable executive package and is capable of transporting 4 adults in comfort. This one is the car to rival the likes of the BMW M3, even though the price tag with the sports kit makes it considerably more expensive. And also in its league, you'll probably find the BMW 540i and the Mercedes-Benz E320. Inside, the instrumentation is sporty, and yet it's still refined. And despite the white fascia, it retains all the trappings of the more genteel versions in the Audi range. There's also a built-in thief-proof radio and tape deck with automatic climate control, which of course is top of the range and enormously efficient. So if the 4 rings of Audi are your cup of tea, a standard S4 Quattro will make a dent in your bank balance to the extent of some 263,000 rand, which in our opinion is worth every penny for a super saloon. But of course you can always take it to the boys down at Uitenhage and ask them to give it the works. That means the full sports kit treatment, and you could find yourself undergoing something of a change in your personality, never mind having to change your income bracket. But you will end up with something which will eat anything else on the road with ease. Not to mention the fact that it'll eat a hole in your bank balance. With the entire kit as tested here, the Audi S4 Quattro will cost you 301,444 rand, and you'll be more than happy to pay it. Well, many of the innovations in the S4 Quattro have been included in the very latest from Audi, the RS2 Avant estate. This is a car that's tweaked by Porsche, and it caused quite a stir when it was launched at the Frankfurt International Motor Show in September last. It was also officially launched in Geneva in January this year. Well, not too long ago, top car editor Dion Schoeman visited Germany to test drive that motor car, and he and Drive Time cameraman Tommy Doig filed this report. The bright red brake calipers are the first thing that tell you that this is something out of the ordinary. After that, the red, blue and silver badging next to the Audi trademark rings and the RS2 badging, you got the message. On the surface, it's a fairly ordinary looking estate car from the Audi 80 stable, which is one of the most popular estate cars in Germany. Well, that's the basis for the RS2, but after that, any similarity is purely coincidental. Even the steering wheel itself is badged.
Station wagons, or estates as they're more commonly called these days, aren't really the kind of vehicles you'd normally associate with hot performance. But this particular estate is a car with a difference. It's called an Audi RS2 Avant, and it has enough power and torque to knock the socks off a BMW M3.
Although the BMW people would probably say we're only pulling your socks. The first step in the RS2 story begins when the body is shipped to Porsche's assembly plant at Zuffenhausen, where it's put together under the care of the sports car builder. Audi's four-wheel drive system is then installed, and is complete with its Torsen diff, which automatically distributes a variable split of power to the front and rear wheels. Then comes a 6-speed manual gearbox, and you're nearly, but not quite there. Give the Audi a lowered Porsche suspension, which gives the RS2 a lower stance and a sports car grip and handling, and then add Porsche brakes and anti-lock braking, and it's time to put in the final touches. The slim driving lamps built into the front bumper are also Porsche, so are the 986 exterior mirrors and the curved spoke alloy wheels. But it's under the bonnet that the real excitement is ready to be unleashed. All you got to do is put in an Audi 2.2-litre engine, already capable of some 169 kilowatts.
This is the heart of the Audi RS2 Avant, a 5-cylinder, 20-valve, turbocharged engine, which on top of it all has been breathed on, if you like, by Porsche. The result is a car which has the kind of power you'd expect to see in Porsches and Ferraris, but certainly not in an Audi station wagon. You're looking at 232 kilowatts of power and a torque peak of 410 Newton meters, which gives this car a 0 to 100 time of 5.4 seconds on its way to a top speed of 262 kilometers an hour.
And of course, as you'd expect from an estate car, despite its sports car performance, the RS2 is also a practical machine. Its interior is stylish with carbon fiber inserts on the instrument panel and the door trim. And the ergonomics have been given all the Audi attention, with electrically adjustable Recaro sport seats clad in suede-like cloth and surrounded by black Napa leather trim. Well, the RS2 Avant could see South African shores if you have the cash. At this moment, without the import duties, the car sells at the equivalent of 230,000 rand. So at present, that would seem to indicate a bill to the South African customer, which would leave little change from 500,000.